What's up, everybody? This is Rabid Hedgehog. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Law Tigers of Oklahoma, AGVSportUSA, and AMSOIL. We want to thank them for helping us provide funds for gear, equipment, and everything to help film what we do, and also keeping our bikes protected and the riders protected. Check out the description below for contact details. What's up, everybody? Rabid Hedgehog here with Mrs. Hedgehog, and we are in a 2021 Vanderhall Carmel from the House of Kawasaki and now Vanderhall. So today we're going to take out one of these wonderful little auto cycles and just kind of putt around for a little bit and kind of get an idea. Now, we all know that this is taking a direct chapter out of the Slingshot book, basically making it a 2 wheels up front, 1 wheel in the back kind of deal. We'll kind of do a little walk around on it real fast and go over some details on it. These things are built out in Utah, and just kind of coming around, and it's kind of an interesting build here. A little bit more interesting than the Slingshot, a lot more, how do you put it, streamlined, but still a freaking cool little vehicle. All right, let's take a quick look on the inside of this Carmel GT as well. Notice that it has a very cool leather interior on it. You have the doors on this particular model. And also, if you take a look, all Vanderhalls come with this back storage right here behind the seat. That way you can store your stuff. And then down here, you can see those switches that we'll talk about later. Transmission, big old false pedal, and kind of the detail around the cabin. Now when you're in here, you can see that you have your gas gauge over here. You have your speedometer. It does have your gear indication and everything over here. You also have a large tachometer with a water temperature gauge dead in front of you, kind of like a race car. That's the one that's always going to be front and center. And then, of course, your gear indicator over here, right there. And then you got a boost gauge as well, and your engine start-stop button over there. You do actually have the ability to sync up a Bluetooth device with it. You click some things. I love the little actual tactile switches there. And notice that unlike the Slingshot, you actually get heating and air. So you can pull that out or push it in for heat or air and just kind of activate it by spinning this little guy right here. So you can pull that out, get some air, or you can push that in and get some heat, and then spin that little knob there, and you can turn off the heating and air and just enjoy it for what it is, a nice little ride. Now, being that this is the Carmel, it has this little topper on it. It does have this large windscreen. It is a standard style laminated glass, just like your regular old windshield in your car. You get a tiny little glove box here, and you get storage behind the seat and everything like your normal two-wheelers. So that's pretty cool to have. Now, as you can see, I'm in 6th gear here. This is an automatic transmission. You can do a semi-automatic transmission as well by switching it down and going to paddle shift, as you can see here. You have your plus and minus right there. Of course, your turn stock and all that. Activate cruise control, you simply flip up on the switch here, and to set it, you push down on the second one right there, and then to adjust your speed, you press up and down on that toggle switch, and you're good to go. You can eliminate traction control if you want to, and all that. Oh, that's pretty nifty. It's matching its downshift as it's going. I'm feeling that thing matching it out right there. Now, this little guy is kind of cool to sit around in. There is no typical rear view mirror like your regular cars. So you don't have something hanging in front of you. You kind of get more of an open air experience that way. Now, this thing is actually not like your Slingshot in that a Slingshot is more like a motorcycle in a way. It comes out to a drive belt final drive, whereas this particular machine actually comes out as a front-wheel drive. It actually has full half shafts and everything in the front, a 1.5 Ecotec engine from a General Motors vehicle, making about 190 horsepower turbocharged. Has a nice soundtrack to it as well. It has 2 pipes going down the side of it. I mean, it's like a Morgan 3-wheeler in a way, only not being powered by a little bitty V-twin. It's being powered by an actually boosted 4-cylinder. It makes an amazing sound. I hope that carries through. Like, it kicks up and you can hear the wastegates dumping and everything. It has just so much little character to it, and the sound coming out of the exhaust is remarkable. I'm going to go ahead and put her into manual mode here. And as you can see, it gets attention when you're going around places too. Just be ready for it. I'm putting it in manual mode now. So we're in first gear. We're going to go ahead and test this bad boy out in the manual mode. But I like it. It's long and narrow. It's not like the Slingshot where it's got a lot of angular things going on. It's got some vibrations to it. It kind of feels like a machine. And it's a really well-made machine. I mean, this is like 1920s, 1930s, 40s race car with the... Hi, you too. It's kind of got this nice little steering wheel here with the wood trim and everything like that. All the toggle switches. It's got to be moved. It's got to be touched. It's got to do things. Like I said, we're getting stared at by everybody. When that's hilarious. All right. Now, I have to say that the paddle shift is a little lackadaisical. It does want to shift at a higher RPM, so it kind of does it on its own. That's no big deal. We'll take it out on the highway and see how that does doing that. Everybody's just looking at us as we're doing this. That's fantastic. I mean, it's a cool vehicle. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Cars, you got motorcycles, you've got...
Yeah, you got the cars and the motorcycles looking at you. Everybody's laughing, everybody's happy. It's a beautiful day though. I mean, you can't deny that. What a day to ride around in a little car or auto cycle or whatever they want to call it today. You can kind of see that delay when I touch the paddle shift going up. It does wait for a moment. Downshift, it still automatically will rev blip for you, so you don't have to worry about that. Just the soundtrack of that turbo and the wastegates and everything moving is hilarious to me. It's got a lot of pep in its step, I gotta give it that. It's almost like sixth gear wants to be just an overdrive in this thing, because we're only pulling like 2,500 RPMs at 60 miles an hour right now. It doesn't really need that much spinning force to get this thing going. Does this by chance have a little bit of weight there, Miss Hedgehog? And that way we can kind of see how much it weighs? Because we've got some stuff on there. This is the Carmel GT.
No.
Doesn't have a weight on there? Well, let's go ahead. What's the horsepower on it? It said 195, right? 194. All right, so 194, 195, not bad.
19-inch wheels.
It has 19-inch wheels all the way around, but every single Vanderhall comes with these 19-inch wheels. Just different wheel packages for the trims. What else has it got on there?
This one has the 3-inch exhaust.
Yeah, there's two different kinds of exhaust. On your lower end models, you get a 2-inch exhaust. And on the bigger ones like this one, you get 3 inches exhaust. Like I said, they're side discharge, and they make an incredible noise. Just listen to that turbo spin up. Every time you get it going, you can hear that turbo boost up a little bit, and then... Woohoo! Oh, it auto downshifted for me. So we're in manual mode, and I gave her some gas, and she downshifted for me down to 4th gear, and then she plastered it into the boost, pushing like 20 pounds of boost. Oh, here we go. Now who's going to be the boss today of three-wheelers? Let's see if we can get up next to this here Slingshot, the originator of this whole craze. I don't know if I can catch him because these cars are going awful slow in front of me. But it'd be awful fun to catch up to him. I don't even know if he knows we're here. You know what? We got to get around this. I mean, do we ride in staggered formation like we do on a motorcycle, or do we just drive around? What do we do here? I see that. Whoa. Whoa, idiots. This is not mine. I don't want to wreck you, moron. So anyway, what does this one run at? What's its cost? So this particular model here is $43.95. So fairly expensive. I mean, the thing is, you get a hand-built item. It's covered in leather. And they're not built until they're ordered. So they're not just like a mass assembly line kind of thing. They got to be ordered first and then built. But what a relaxing drive this thing is. I mean, it really is like driving around in just an open-air convertible versus, you know, more of the motorcycle feel that you get with the Slingshot. The Slingshot definitely is more of that open roadster style. And it's hilarious that we got one right up ahead, and we have this one here where we're literally just driving around. And it is a comfortable ride. I mean, the seats are nice and comfortable. They're just kind of... The seat heater is also nice, apparently. I don't have mine on. I don't need one. It's like in the 60s right now, but it's absolutely gorgeous right now. It's just a nice, pleasant day. Barely any wind. Just a fun little drive. I mean, aside from being almost rammed by a Ram, right? But you can't be too angry in a Vanderhall. I mean, the steering is nice and taut on it. We're hitting these Oklahoma bumps and nothing's really upsetting this three-wheeler here. And like I said, it's actually powered by front-wheel drive. It has 2 wheels of power. Unlike what's ahead of us, the Slingshot, which only has the 1 wheel of power in the back. So that drive belt could absolutely shred that rear tire if you slam on it. Whereas this one, you actually have more contact to get the power down. And it definitely feels like it. And the suspension is really good on this thing. I mean, we have terrible roads here in Oklahoma, despite being on the interstate. I mean, we're constantly bouncing. There's nothing easy about these roads. But it's just a pleasant drive. I mean, it's a fun little car. It's almost like driving a more nimble Mini Cooper, and it's hard to get a Mini Cooper more nimble than anything else. I mean, the Mini Cooper is definitely one that is a nimble vehicle. But this one here feels absolutely amazing. It's so funny to be bullied by bigger cars when a Fiat's bigger than you and they just kind of cut you off. That's kind of sad, but funny at the same time. He was taking a gander at us. You know, this is definitely the ultimate weekender vehicle. You have space in the back to put some stuff into, and to go just tear up everything, have a nice little cruise around, and just enjoy life. I mean, this thing feels like it'll cruise all day long at 60 miles an hour without even thinking. I mean, it's incredible. I'm in 6th gear, and I'm barely pulling over 2,000 RPM, like 21 or 2,200 or so, just to keep up with traffic. I mean, it does not take much for this thing to get going. There's not much mass for that engine to move. So the power plant that they chose for it was perfect. Gives it a good power to weight ratio. Go ahead and set that cruise control there. And as you can see, down the way, you got massive aluminum pedals. You got a very big false pedal right there. But you got your standard pedals right there, and there's a big false pedal over here for your passenger, but I'm using it right now too. You can see I have very large feet, those size 14 feet, and they fit up in here just fine. That's always something I worry about in a car like this. I used to be a mechanic years ago, before I lost feeling in my right hand and became a liability, because I could lose my hand and never know it for a moment until the blood started coming out, kind of deal. But I would get into like a Geo Metro, for instance, and a manual Geo Metro car, I literally had to drive barefoot and use my 2 big toes to actually actuate the clutch and the acceleration to make it go. I could not use my shoes, because if I went in with my steel toes, I took up all 3 pedals with 1 boot. And that was just ridiculous. I mean, it's a bigger car than this in a sense, and yet they didn't know what they were doing with that. The engineering was terrible on it. They weren't anticipating Americans with giant feet. I'm thankful for Vanderhall for doing it here, because this is absolutely amazing. Like I said, I love the toggle switches. You just reach up, you feel like you're in an aircraft just flipping everything, and the way the gauges are open like that. And the steering on this thing is taut. I mean, there's no play. You can tell this thing just twitches. It's got a very good steering rack on it, very tight. The wheel is nice and taut. And everything is so simplistic here, because you just got the paddle shifters and this stalk. You can push it forward to get your brights on, push it back, turn them off just like your car. I don't know how much gas mileage this thing gets, but if it's miles per gallon, then you got incredible amounts of those right now, because I cannot be unhappy in this thing. This is hilarious. I don't know what it is about it. I just find it a little bit more comforting than the Slingshot, because I mean the Slingshot was a much wider vehicle, but you also have that kind of downward tube so you can step into it, and you know, you can see more of the road going by. This one feels way more like a car with these little doors here. Now the lesser models do have that step down feel to it, so one of these days we might have to take one of those out to see if that's any better. But for some reason I just like the way this tub is versus all the angular, because I feel like I could see down the nose better, like an old classic roadster, like a 40s roadster car, you know, a race car. So you kind of got this nice angle, and of course that nice dip down. You've got plenty of visibility from the road. I'm 6 foot tall, and I'm not getting into anything that I can't, you know, see, which is great. Of course, I got a cousin that's 6'5". We might have to throw him in this thing and see how that actually works out. I mean, this thing is just happy.
Like I say, I can see out of the fine, and I'm 5'3".
Now, what I like about not having a full rear view mirror is the fact it does make you kind of more aware with all of what's going on around you.
And the reason being more wherewithal is because you got to look around and be interactive with your drive. You're not just sitting there stationary just looking at mirrors. You got to learn looking around to check your blind spots and stuff. The mirrors where they're placed are okay, but you know, they're very limited to what they could see. Almost like your motorcycle mirror. I've kind of got this one set. That one needs a little bit more work, but they're very buzzy. So you get kind of an unclear picture like certain motorcycles. So you kind of do need to look around just to make sure there's nothing there, which, like I said, that makes you more involved in the drive. You're supposed to use your head and eyes when you're driving, right? And that's the greatest part. Hey, we got a thumbs up from a Tesla, why not? Whee! Yeah, now if you go down to House of Kawasaki, Vanderhall, and all that, you want to definitely talk to Doug or Ricardo. Ricardo's the one that helped set us up on this ride. He told me the wrong thing. He said to go as far as you like. I'll run this thing out of gas. That's for dang sure, because this thing is fun. But I thought about just taking it up and having a little bit of fun at one of our favorite stops here in Oklahoma, and that's Pops on Route 66. I mean, people are going to be looking at it, that's for sure. Do we park in the motorcycle spots or not? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get there. But yeah, this is a pretty cool autocycle, car thing, whatever you want to call it. Now, talking to your passenger, I'm in a helmet. It might be a little easier without the helmet. The only reason I have my helmet on is that way I can have my camera mount. I know I've got my little buddy over here today, watching from the roll bar. So that's one thing about having a roll bar is you can kind of put it in a new spot so you can get a new angle. But this thing is a blast. Huh?
It is. I can't stop smiling and laughing.
Even as a passenger, you can't stop smiling and laughing. That's a good deal. I mean, there is some sadness to Oklahoma, as everybody has watched my channel knows. We just have flat, never-ending roads. I mean, we have rolling hills, but we really don't have twists and turns. Gotta go several hours out of the metro area or central Oklahoma in any direction except for west, and you'll find some of those twisty roads. You'll find some more fun roads. Hit the brake and you just hear that wastegate dump. That's so funny. You know what's nice is even in that little display over there, it tells me exactly where I set my cruise control for. I get this guy staring at me pretty hard here in that truck there. And back at it. We'll go ahead and just hit that resume there. And away we go. I mean, nothing's incredibly out of reach. That's the great part. It's a very involved drive. Everything is laid out very, very nicely. And I love that gear indicator. I love the way that just clicks and follows where you're going and everything. And like I said, even though I'm in manual mode, if I give her the beans, she'll go ahead and downshift for me if I haven't done so already. So if I plaster it, you can see I jump down to fourth gear right there, and as soon as I come back up, it'll shift its way back up. So like I said, it's more of that semi-automatic transmission. And like I said, it's a very lazy transmission. It's not a dual clutch. It's not anything special, it feels like. So it's not quick acting. It's just whenever it wants to go. Alright, so for those of you unfamiliar with Oklahoma or America or the tales of the Mother Road, Route 66 goes right through the heart of where I live at. In fact, it's one of our main roads that we take almost every day. When I go to work, I'm taking Route 66. When I'm going, you know, everywhere, I take Route 66. Of course, it's been modernized. That rev matching is so fun. But anyway, this historical route was pre-interstate. It predates I-40, it predates 44, it predates everything. Going east to west, and it goes from Chicago to LA. So Chicago to LA, this was the fastest way to go, mostly a 2-lane road back in the day. But it became the road that everybody started to cruise. Nostalgia and all that taking effect. Plenty of songs written about the Mother Road and everything. Thing about Oklahoma is we're home to the most used miles of the Route 66 still left in the United States. This Route 66 still comes from the northeast all the way through to the west in Oklahoma without stopping. You don't have to jump on too many interstates to keep it going if you don't want to. So we have a few attractions, and one of our biggest one is up here in Arcadia, Oklahoma, and that's Pops. Of course, the round barn is up there as well. But if you're ever traveling in Oklahoma, man, you know, stop by these areas. They're kind of fun. We have a giant whale in Catoosa off of Route 66. There's a Seba Station Motorcycle Museum. Yeah, that's a fun place to go out to, out in Warwick, Wellston area. Built out of an old service station that's out there. So we have plenty of fun little places to go out to and cruise to if you're interested in ever visiting Oklahoma. Of course, the Route 66 does get a little bit more interesting the further east you go, because you start getting into the Ozarks and stuff like that as you're going up northeast, cutting into Kansas, Missouri, and all that as well. So eventually we'll have to do something from north all the way southeast and west and all that fun stuff on Route 66. Go all directions we can one of these days. Let's see, do I wave at a motorcycle? Do you think it'll respond? Let's find out. Hey! There we go. He didn't respond. He's on the motorcycle. We'll give him mad props for being on an actual two-wheeler. I'm glad that we were signaled there. I'm not going to get tired of that turbo sound, that's for sure.
I giggle every time I hear it.
It's just so easy to get it going. I bet you it's turned a little hotter than the original.
What about the spider?
Find out. Hey! Get away from a spider even. I mean, I'm just stunned at how well this thing drives. How comfortable. The fact that it doesn't really rotate that much. I mean, this engine pairing and tuning and everything is just so perfect. It has enough mechanical feel to it to feel like an old school roadster. You get those kind of old school vibes and feel and growl from the exhaust, and it's just a pleasant drive to go to your favorite destination. Oh, that's cool.
That is cool.
Let's go over here real quick. There we are.
Nice.
So yeah, what a way to end this, is right behind a 1942 vehicle, just to kind of pull up on it. So at any rate, this is Rabid Hedgehog and Mrs. Hedgehog in the 2021 Vanderhall Carmel GT from House of Kawasaki, Vanderhall. To get out, all you gotta do is pull this. You get this little backwards door here. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, you get the suicide doors, speakers are down there, you can see.
Cup holders.
Yeah, little cup holders. It is a key fob system, so you just carry a little fob with you, and
Oh, thanks.
and you can have fun with it. And of course, people are going to start talking about it. So at any rate, keep that shiny side up, folks, and we'll catch you on the next ride.
What's up, everybody? This is the Rabid Hedgehog, and thanks once again for watching our videos. Please like, share, subscribe today if you like what you've seen. We also want to give a shout out to our dealership partners and motorcycle mechanics. We have Motiv Cycle Works Moto Guzzi out of Oklahoma City. They are both mechanic and a Moto Guzzi dealership. They are located at 906 North Ann Arbor Avenue, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma 73127, or 405-641-1801, or motivcycleworks.com. We thank Don and his crew for helping keep our CX500 running strong and awesome. Also, we want to give a big shout out to Indian of Oklahoma City, located at 7 Northeast 10th Street, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma 73104, or 405-606-3615. We promise you will not find a better family in motorcycles that will help you get on the dream ride that you're looking for. We also want to reach out to any dealership who might be interested in letting us ride and get your videos out there and your motorcycles. Please reach us at the email in our About section. I'd like to also thank our sponsors, Law Tigers Motorcycle Lawyers, locally in Oklahoma, 405-276-4986, and 24/7 states everywhere, 1-888-863-7216. Also, Doug Crawford with AMSOIL USA Synthetics. He can be found at usasynthetics.com or 405-388-6170, providing AMSOIL for our motorcycles and keeping them protected. Also, Enloe and Associates Insurance Agency, locally in Oklahoma at 405-261-1010. Once again, thank you so much for watching, folks. You all have a great one. We'll catch you on the next ride.